and welcome to Anime and Manga Recommendations, the third in a 4-part series, and with special guest star, Russell!
That was lame. Get out of my chair.
Russell!
That's how you do it.
Okay, so we've done, this is a 4-part series, this is part 3. If you haven't watched part 1 and 2, why watch anime and manga, and what is anime and manga, then click the description below to watch those first, and then come back and watch this video.
Yeah, why would they again?
Go back and watch the other ones?
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, you gotta go watch them. You should watch them.
So this one is all about recommendations of what anime and what manga we recommend.
So,
because we are the total top authority on this.
Yes,
100%.
Most definitely not. Especially.
That's right, yeah.
So anyway, I guess I can start.
Sure.
Some of the stuff I'm into right now are some movies by the director Hayao Miyazaki. He is a Japanese director who's won several awards in Japan and abroad for his artistic films. He has puts great thought and detail into his films. There's one particular scene from a movie called Spirited Away that I remember that really just brought out why I enjoy some of his movies just as far as detail goes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene where this girl is putting on her shoes, and instead of just, maybe you might think just to be expedient, that you draw, animate them putting on their shoes and then just, they're gone, right? That's it, done.
Yeah.
But he takes the detail to stop and think, okay, she's gonna sit down, she's gonna put it on, like take one foot, put it on, and then what she does is afterwards she does the kind of little stop thing. She taps her toe, the toes of her shoes on to make sure that they fit well, and then she goes. Like she has, it's just this little play out that was just really, that brought out to me how detail oriented he was at everything. It goes more
really
into
cool.
that.
Yeah, those were really cool. He really introduced us to those. He was like, why haven't you watched these?
Yeah, basically, and they've watched some now. Our friendship is kind of still shaky, and so we're getting there. No, it's good. And then other stuff I'm into right now is just some other movies by some other movie directors. Director of a movie called Children Who Chase Lost Voices. What was the one you were saying? The Wolf Children, right?
Oh, I haven't actually seen that one. Yeah, we've heard of Wolf Children from a few of our friends that really recommended
really
it.
Excited to see that based on the film I have seen. It's looking to be good. Like, he's a decent director. He's just more focused on being thought-provoking and working on the artwork. Mm-hmm. I would say though, however, even though even with these recommendations, I would still have some caveats for each of these directors. So, for instance, with Miyazaki, he is more focused on the artwork and the plot. Definitely, some of the more heart-wrenching plots I've watched in movies in general have been some of his. But I would say that some of the bents that he has in his plots are kind of humanistic ideals and kind of feminist in some parts, and then also because he has a lot of female protagonists and also kind of, what's the word? It's kind of like earth, like about the earth and everything.
Yeah,
so
it's almost like Earth, like Gaia. Well,
yeah, overly environmentalist. Like people are bad, they're ruining the earth, and which isn't to say that it's not true, but it can in his earlier films be a little bit preachier than it is in some of his more modern films.
And I'd also say with those, kind of like we mentioned a bit in one of our other videos, but is that they do refer to a lot of the fantastical fantasy creatures as demons in those films, but the way that they're portrayed in the films, to me, is a lot more like what you would think of as like a Disney fairy or something, where it's just some kind of magical creature. It's little more.
That's sort of their idea. The demons and all that kind of stuff is sort of their version of fairy tale. Right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
I guess another thing is there's some series that I might recommend as well. Like there's a series called a detective series for kids, oriented toward kids. It's called Conan the Detective. It's about I guess he's a teenager, not a teenager, or maybe 20s, kind of guy, who then gets through some sort of scientific process, was turned into a kid again, and he's stuck as a kid. But he's solving all these mysteries with his friends and stuff. It's just a fun little show. There's and it's one of the longest running shows. It's still running, I think now. It's been around for a few decades now. and it's one of the longest running shows in Japanese anime. And I would recommend that one. It's this as a place to start, just interesting stuff. You know,
That's
mysteries and detective work is always a good place for,
Yeah.
for new storygoers. So.
Seems like detective things are like a good thing for a series because then you get to have like a new plot every time and there's a reason for him to be involved.
Right. And the whole time he's trying to figure out how to become, you know, turn back into his original self. It's very interesting. So, and the fact that it's still running means he has it. So. What's going on? Is he ever gonna turn back to that?
Yeah. It's funny because I'm not sure I actually have that many recommendations. Most of the time, I like Miyazaki movies. Those were great.
Yeah. Also a good place to start.
Most of the time when I've found a series, just because of time, or like a manga or an anime, just because of time, I haven't really finished it. So I don't really know what I can recommend. But one tactic I would recommend in a way is if you're looking for mangas, sometimes if you look for science fiction, they can be, they're not necessarily going to be, but they can be cleaner because they are not going to be as spiritual. I have found a lot of I'll look on the shelf and I'll be like, ghost this, zombie this, vampire this, and I'm like, what? But then the sci-fi, instead of being based on vampires, is based on robots or, I don't know, clones. So sometimes I've found that some science fiction, not necessarily always is, but can be less spiritual than the fantasy if you're concerned about there being a lot of fairy, ghost, demon-y stuff and stuff.
Yeah. What's unfortunate is there are some plots and shows, movies, and everything like that you know, they do have good elements to them, but looking back now, at the time I felt okay about them. But looking back, I don't think I could have. And again, that comes back to the consciousness we talked about in the last video.
Yeah.
So one of the shows that I thoroughly enjoyed at the time, and still think it had some good elements despite some of the detractors, was a show called Death Note.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the most, I guess, cerebral shows I had seen. Very interesting, but still, it still was very, you know, you could follow along with it fairly decently, but it was very tricky and kind of detective-y. Not detective-y, but there wasn't a detective, but there was a detective, never mind. But that wasn't the focus. It was just it was sort of mind games and trying to figure out how the other person was going to react and try to figure out what was going to happen based on what the other person knew. It was interesting. Unfortunately, had just a lot of sort of immoral stuff in it, killing and things like that. Just from a distance.
It seems like from what I'd seen, that it was there was no good guy. It was more of a study of almost like a study of depravity, so to speak.
Yeah, it was a study. I would say that, and if you look at it from that perspective, it could be something that you could potentially be able to view. I wouldn't probably go back and watch it now.
Yeah.
That's me. You know, if that's something that you feel you can watch with a clean conscience, then that's an interesting one to watch.
Yeah. My most excitement is that I hear that a lot of independent comic book artists are making online manga comics. I've heard people oh, where can I get good manga or whatever. They're well, there's some online people that do clean comics, but they're just really hard to find because they're not being made through the main distributors.
Yeah, most of what sells is stuff that's trashy.
Right.
That's just the case with most media.
Even if it had really good art. So I've yet to find I've either yet to find those, and I've yet to stick with the series for long enough to see if it ends up having too much content. But definitely a good place to start can be with Russell's recommendations, since he's sifted through all this junk for us.
On purpose.
Yeah. So those are some recommendations, and definitely if you are a younger person watching this, don't start trying to look into this stuff without getting your parents' approval or permission, because you don't want to be running into stuff that you didn't need to see.
Oh yeah, no. Then there's plenty of opportunity for that to happen, and we don't want to do anyway, unnecessarily.
So, thank you guys so much for sticking with us in the series. We have one more bonus video coming up, and if you have, that's going to be in the link below once it's out. So comment below whatever manga and anime recommendations you have and why you like them.
Also, what do you think about our recommendations?
Yeah, whether you think we're really crazy insane, it's probably what you
are.
If you do, you're probably right. So subscribe if you want to see more nerdy videos, and I didn't say 4, sorry. Subscribe for more nerdy videos.
4 nerd videos? Really? This is not in my contract. You said 4 originally. I'm not up for this.
4 more. For more. So if you want to see more.
Oh, for more.
For more.
Okay.
So subscribe for more nerdy videos and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Now I guess it's time to do the salute.
Yep. Ready?
Hashtag. No, we don't say hashtag. But this is a hashtag. Ready? We are epic heroes. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you soon.